What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Reef with Jack Reefer, and I got some more Clemson football news for you. So the spring game just ended. I've had some time to go back, watch the game film again, let it all marinate, soak in, see what's working, what's not working. But that comes next. First, I want to talk about the quarterback situation of Clemson. Now, in corporate America, when the major corporations, I'm talking your Amazon, your Microsoft, your Apple, when talent for them either leaves or becomes unavailable for some reason, do they go out and poach? No, they promote. They promote, they don't poach. So why is it that all these Clemson news sites, forums, all the Clemson football fans want the team to go out and find a quarterback in the transfer portal to back up DJ? It just doesn't make sense to me. Now, the injury to Tyson Pumachon, super unfortunate. Don't wish injuries on any kid. And the Achilles injury, it's a tough one to come back from, but I got faith in the Clemson medical staff. He'll make a full recovery, be able to come back. But he was primed for a good backup year this year. And honestly, now, with only two healthy quarterbacks in the current roster, there is some concern. There is some concern. But let's not forget, people, we have three quarterbacks coming in this summer as summer enrollees. Now, two of the more notable ones, one is Will Taylor from Dutch Fork in South Carolina. Now, I know he's coming to play wide receiver, and some of the smart alecks are like, he's coming to play wide receiver, he's not coming to play quarterback, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, well, we're going to stick him at quarterback just for depth purposes until next year, and then we can switch him over to wide receiver, kind of a Hunter Renfrow type situation. Now, I know Hunter came from a wing T triple option type offense in high school, but you gotta make do with it sometimes. So, but either way, Will Taylor's a baseball kid. He's gonna come in, he's gonna get the job done. Now, we also have Bubba Chandler coming in, and who doesn't like a name like Bubba Chandler? Like, that's just such a great name. Such a great name, but from the great state of Georgia. Yeah, another Georgia quarterback for Clemson. But he may be going to the MLB this year. So he's a projected first-round pick, and he'll probably get drafted. I mean, he's a great baseball kid, great arm, very lively, powerful arm. And he may get drafted, and he's going to have a tough decision to make with his family, whether he wants to go pro in the MLB draft or if he wants to come to Clemson and play some football. Now, that may come down to his draft position, where he's drafted, what the first contract is in terms of monetary value. I don't know. There's a lot of things up in the air, but it would be foolish of him not to look at that opportunity and see where, if he could make some money there, and make a lot of money, multi-million dollars worth of money playing baseball, go do it. More power to the kid. But overall, I'm just trying to make the point that Clemson fans need to trust the development process at Clemson that Dabo has. Trust that there's a system in place and the talent is there. And also, honestly, people, behind that O-line, if DJ goes down for some reason, don't wish him to go down. But if he goes down for some reason and is out, Clemson's in trouble. Because DJ is special. And that O-line, they could be special, but they just haven't really proven it yet to me. And I'll touch on that later. And honestly, worst case scenario, there's a lot of talented athletes on that roster. I'm sure some of them have played quarterback in high school or maybe even middle school, have some experience there. We'll put him back there and we'll figure something out. That's a worst case scenario. I'm not quite sure. We'll figure it out and what we're going to do if it gets to that. Now, onto the spring game. One thing that really stood out to me is just how deep Clemson is at running back. I mean, Lynn J was looking great. Will Shipley was looking great. Kobe Pace was looking great. Phil Mafia was looking great. Everybody was looking great back there. Super explosive, and I think there's going to be a lot of competition for touches this year, which is a great thing for Clemson fans. But I don't know if there's going to be enough touches to go around. So I don't know if all these kids are going to be able to stick around the programs. I don't know if there's going to be enough touches to go around. Now, I think the starters can end up being Lynn J. Dixon. Now, some people may look at me and say Lin Jay's not a really splashy name right now in terms of the depth chart. Not much new blood. He's been around, and that's exactly why he's going to be the starter. He's shown to be a productive backup and has done an excellent job spelling Travis Etienne during these games, back when he was playing. And that's my honest opinion is I think Lin Jay is going to be the starter, and he should. He's earned it. He's put in the time. He's put in the work, and Dabo has shown time and time again that he likes seniors and upperclassmen. I mean, every football coach does. They've put in the work. They've hit the weight room. They're stronger, faster than most freshmen coming in. Now, there are some exceptions. Some freshmen that come in that are just special and just dudes. But most of the time, they like upperclassmen, and that's what Lin Jay is right now. This is his time. Now, I could see Will Shipley getting some touches as kind of a third down, change pace back, receiving back, because he looked super explosive in the spring game, and all the reports coming out of practice from Clemson is he's been super explosive and elusive. And then Kobe Pace, bigger guy, he looks like a grown man. Kobe Pace looks like a man. He is a dude back there. But I think he's going to come in as a short yardage back, power back, goal line type situations. And yeah, that's how I see the running back situation playing out. Now on to the offensive line. Clemson fans might want to be concerned because that offensive line did not look very special. And honestly, last year, the offensive line did not play very special. So, I know that primarily it's compromised of freshmen, redshirt freshmen, sophomores. It's a very young group, very young position group. Dabo's mentioned time and time again to the media that he wants to develop that group. But the biggest, or the guy that stood out the most from the spring game was a freshman named Marcus Tate, offensive tackle. Early January enrollee, and he stood out. He looked pretty darn good, to be honest with you. Possibly the best tackle on the roster. Now, we'll see as the summer progresses and fall camp goes underway who's going to win that starting offensive tackle spot, because Jackson Cartman left for the NFL. And honestly, Jackson Cartman, he was spotty at times. He was spotty. He'd get some unnecessary penalties, and there were just some things that sometimes you'd be scratching your head was what he was doing. Also, weight would be an issue at times. I think weight kind of played a lot into his playing ability sometimes. But he's gone from the NFL now, and there's a lot of holes in the offensive line, a lot of opportunities to win jobs. In addition to that, there's 5-star Tristan Lake coming in. He chose Clemson over Oklahoma. He'll be a summer enrollee. 5-star offensive tackle prospect, and he could come in and be very good as well. Now, that'd be something if they had two true freshman offensive tackles, maybe right tackle, left tackle, maybe they stick one at guard, one at tackle. But honestly, Clemson fans should just hope that Dabo puts the best offensive line back there possible, because the offensive line did not look really special last year, and those rushing numbers in big games. I'm not talking about when Clemson's playing Boston College, Georgia Tech, teams they just physically outclass and just can push over. I'm talking about when Clemson played the big boys. When they played Notre Dame, Ohio State last year, the big boy games, they weren't really getting that push on the offensive line against the defensive line. And the rushing numbers showed it. I mean, Travis Etienne, Clemson was begging Travis to have a big game when they were at Notre Dame and Trevor was out. They were giving him screens, counters, off tackle, dives, sweeps, trying to get him as many touches as possible, begging him to do something. But that offensive line just wasn't getting the job done, wasn't holding down blocks long enough for Travis to make a play, because Travis was a special player. Don't get me wrong, Travis Etienne, special player, best running back statistically in Clemson football history, and he just couldn't get the job done. So hopefully the offensive line improves, but the spring game just didn't really showcase that at all. The offensive line looked kind of the same, and I know Clemson's defensive line is special. They got some dudes on that defensive line. Some absolute dudes, monsters, freaks. They got everything there. They got the kitchen sink. But that offensive line needs to improve. Now, I was very happy to see the secondary making plays. Secondary looked good. I know DK was a big loss. I know he had some shaky big games against Ohio State and LSU, but overall, DK was a pretty solid cornerback for Clemson, and it's unfortunate that he departed the team, but it sounds like he has some issues going on. So it sounds like it was a good call for Dabo to separate from himself, or separate the program from DK. But I wish DK the best going forward. But the secondary looked good. I'm still going to complain about the Venerables kid back there playing. I mean, I just think there's better options in the depth chart than him at times. I mean, he looks like a college safety, but in terms of just playing speed and just reaction at times, I think he's just not as good as some of the other twitchy athletes on the roster. But we'll see how that plays itself out. I've been complaining about that for a while now. Now on to the Clemson wide receivers. So of the big three wide receivers, Ross, Ladson, and Ngata, only Ngata played. Ladson and Ross were out, which unfortunate. I know Ross still working his way back from that neck surgery that he had, and he's got a big appointment coming up in the summer to see if his football career can continue. I'm hoping the best for him, wishing the best. I hope he can continue because he's a special player. He might be a future first-round NFL draft pick. He's a special player. And Ladson's just continued to struggle to stay healthy. But the same can be said about Ngata, too. I mean, Ngata and Ladson, neither one of them really played this past year, and it showed in their receiving corps. I mean, I love Amari Rodgers. I love Cornell Powell. We're both great guys for the program on and off the field. But maybe Cornell's 6 feet tall. Amari's definitely not 6 feet tall. And it showed. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was a quarterback. He threw up those 50-50 balls and expect T. Higgins, Justin Ross to go up there and get that ball, and they would. And that was a significant chunk of the offense for Clemson, was those 50-50 balls that our 6'4", 6'3" receivers would go up and just win. And it worked, and we just could not do that at all last year. We had to dip and dunk, lots of dip and dunks, and eventually teams started to catch on to the routes we were running. And that's why we need Ross, Ladson, and Ngata, all 6'3", 6'4" monsters, to get healthy. And the Clemson football team will go as far as those receivers can carry them. Now, this is not a knock on the running back room or DJ, but in this modern football era, you need a solid passing game. And those three receivers give us the opportunity to have a solid passing game. Now, of course, one of the Collins bros could come along and prove that they're a key cog in the passing game, but they're true freshmen. They haven't had any real playing time yet. But hopefully the receiving room gets healthy. That's a big key for the summer, going into summer workouts. Get the receivers healthy, get everybody healthy, figure out the offensive line, who's going to be the dudes starting up front, and get them as big and strong as possible, because Clemson football wants to play with the big boys, and they need some big boy offensive linemen. That's all I got for today, people. Tell somebody you love them. Deuces.